Friends, there are protests going on in Iran against the present government of Khamenei, the supreme leader. There have been many deaths, and the US has threatened that they will attack Iran in case these deaths carry on. And also, Iran has retaliated by saying that they are ready to face US attacks and there will be war if this happens. The US says that Iran is the creator of all the problems in the West Asia, with countries like Yemen, Syria and others all towing its line and creating terrorism in that sector. But then here also Iran has been bullied by US, though the relations in the Shah era was different, and over a period of time there have been changes and US and Iran have fallen out as friends and have become foes because ideologies do not match. At one point of time, pre the 80s, Iran was a US ally. Even a few months back, last year, US stealth bombers bombed the nuclear facilities because US, at the behest of Israel, doesn't want Iran to become nuclear because they're scared that they will attack the US bases around Iran in West Asia and can become a rogue state. But then North Korea has nuclear missiles. Has US been able to stop it or been able to do anything about it other than a few talks between the president of the US and Kim Jong? So here there is one little problem that US has to understand that if they try to be the harbinger of peace or trying to have stability in the world by their interferences is not going to really work. Let sovereign nations act on their own and also let the world be multipolar instead of trying to making it unipolar and trying to challenge anybody with bullyism and squashing the smaller nations if they are trying to come up either economically or in any other way. Like a few months back, the kidnapping of the Venezuelan president, which we have discussed in one of our videos. So in this video, I will tell you about how Iran at one point of time, which was Quasar Persia for the British and the Russians and also to the US pre-World War II, where allies has fallen out and there is distrust between the two nations with not having any diplomatic relations since a long time. So watch my video till the end and also help us educate the poor by either volunteering or donating to Uma Dream Foundation and motivating our artisans at Shonajuri Arts. So going on to the video, the relations between Iran and US in today's world has become turbulent and has a troubled history, but that was not the case. Like I said, the Western world knew it as Quasar Persia, and by contrast, in today's context, the US was seen as a most trustworthy foreign power, and Americans like Arthur Mills Pogge and Morgan Schuster were even appointed as treasurer generals by the Shah's of the time during World War II, Iran was invaded by the UK and the Soviet Union, both US allies, but relations continued to be positive. And after the war, until later year of the government of Mohammad Mossadegh, who was overthrown by a coup organized by the CIA and aided by MIS. This was followed by an era of close alliance between Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, whose authoritarian regime and the US government worked hand in hand, and Iran did progress and had Western thoughts till the Shah was overthrown, and then disagreement started after the 1979 Iranian Revolution. And since 7th April 1980, both the countries do not have diplomatic relations. Instead, Pakistan serves as Iran's protecting power in the US, while Switzerland serves as the United States protecting power in Iran. Contacts are carried out through the Iranian interest section of the Pakistani embassy in Washington DC and the US interest section of the Swiss embassy in Tehran. In August 2018, Supreme Leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei, banned direct talks with US, and according to the US Department of Justice, Iran has since attempted to assassinate US officials and dissidents, including US President Donald Trump. This is all hearsay and nothing is got concrete evidence. Going back onto a bit of the past, the political relations between Quasar Persia and US began when the Shah of Iran, Nasiruddin Shah Quasar, officially dispatched Iran's first ambassador Mirza Abul Hassan to United States in 1856. In 1883, Samuel J.B. Benjamin was appointed by the US as the first official diplomatic envoy to Iran. However, ambassadorial relations were not established until 1944. The US had little interest in Persian affairs, and both were trustworthy outsiders, and the relations carried on. And later on, in 1921, Raza Khan, a military officer in the Persia's Cossack Brigade, came to power after leading a British-backed coup which overthrew the Khuzad dynasty. He later declared himself Shah and took the name of Reza Pahlavi, and his generation started carrying on. In 1953, after the break of World War II, the US had no active policy towards Iran, but when the Cold War began, the US was alarmed by the attempt by the Soviet Union to set up separatist states in Iranian Azerbaijan and Kurdistan, as well as its demand for military rights to the Dardanelles in 1946. So in 1951, Iran nationalized its oil industry and also effectively seized the assets of the Anglo-Indian Oil Company, and was Mohammad Mossadegh at that time was elected as the Prime Minister by the Parliament of Iran. In 1953, again the US and the Britain orchestrated a coup to overthrow the Iran's Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, fearing communist influence and economic instability after Iran nationalized its oil industries. After this coup, US played a central role in reorganizing Iran's oil sector. After that, the US and the Iran had close ties, with the Shah playing a major role and had anti-hijab laws or threw away the hijab, and there were strategic alliances and geopolitical dominances, and Iran was using its oil to help out US, but then over a period of time, the US started feeling that Iran was selling its oil at a higher price. That was one of the major causes why the Shah started falling out on US goodwills. Then there were arms sale to Iran also by the US, but then Nixon, who had actively recruited the Shah as an American puppet and proxy, but then under the Ford, the US-Iran relation began to cool down, and Ford lacked a close personal relationship with the Shah, and his administration took a more cautious stance on nuclear cooperation because Iran wanted to have nuclear powers and US was slightly against it, keeping the agenda of the Muslim world, the West Asian geopolitics. So it was one of the harbingers also which started cooling down the relations, and over a period of time with Clinton and other people not working in sync with the Iranian ideologies, which were supposedly to be separatists and also against the ideologies of the US. Iran and US relations during George Bush also having heightened tensions and mutual disrespect, and there were attempts of limited engagements like the September 11 attacks in 2001, shooting down of Flight 156, and then during Obama's time also there was a shift from confrontation to cautious engagement, culminating in the landmark nuclear agreement of 2015. And then came Trump's first administration from 17 to 21, which was marked by sharp policy shifts from Obama's engagement policies, and that developed more distrust. And after that, during Biden's time, things were wishy-washy and not getting improved in any way. But this time, when Trump has come in, he has been after Iran, and with the Israeli attack on Gaza and Iran and Israel locking horns. Though Trump says that he is not siding with Israel, but then why did he attack the nuclear facilities with stealth bombers? And today he is declaring war on Iran if the protest killings do not stop. But then again here, that is Iran's internal affairs. But US says that they are garnering out terrorists. And now that Trump has not been given the Nobel Prize, he says he does not care on keeping peace. So let us watch what happens between the US and Iran in the future. For that, keep watching my channel and also give your comments on this issue in the comment box below. And going further, I am free to teach you life skills at no cost at all. Call me on the number below so that I can help you. Jai Hind.